11 years of Modi government. Well, who better to explain the transformation that has taken place other than Union Minister and Senior Party Leader Hardeep Singh Puri? Welcome to the Print, sir.
Thank you very much. I can think of many more people who would be better positioned to explain, but thank you very much. With due humility, I accept this thing, and thank you for having me on your show.
Sir, 11 years on, what do you believe is the legacy of the Modi government?
Well, it's 11 years, the growth, development with the benefits of growth percolating down to the grassroots level, through the length and breadth of the country, development which was women-centered, becoming women-led, and I think above all those mind-boggling figures, moving from a $2 trillion to a $4.3 trillion, something that we should have done much earlier. We have reclaimed pride and confidence in our civilizational and historical heritage. I'm not talking about religion, it's a civilization. You know, we're a 7,000-year-old civilization. When you see a city like Varanasi, how many thousand years old is it? And you combine it into, we give it the concepts of smartness. The fact that today you've been able to lift in one go, this 11-year period, 279 million people out of multidimensional poverty. Naddaji mentioned 25 crores or 250 million. No, the World Bank figures is 279 million, even higher than that. Number two, your poverty figure has fallen from 24% to 5%. All right, there are still much more that we can do. There are my friends, the economists, who would say, no, but in order to become Viksit Bharat, truly developed country, you have to grow at 8%. Sure, you have to. But you know, government and governance is the art of the doable. I mean, if we were not a robust democracy and an executive fiat, I could, order things around land acquisition, lock up people and, make sure everybody will. No. But a democracy, all the avenues for redressal of grievances are open to people. You try and set up an industry somewhere, you get caught up with something. Yeah, there's some problems on our side also. Our regulatory environment needs to be eased, has been eased considerably. Our agencies need to be encouraged to, take it. But there were scams earlier. Now, if you are in a democracy, you can't say, oh, I'm in opposition, therefore I'm being scrutinized. No, you're being scrutinized because you apparently did something wrong. If not, well, go through with the process, etc. Our legal system, our courts, overburdened with cases. So, when you take all that, I think 11 years is a solid achievement. A lot has been done. Many old archaic laws have been thrown out. But I think the beauty of these 11 years is it's shown you what can be done and it's provided you a roadmap of what more that you should be doing.
How has the governance model evolved? If you look at Modi 1.0 to Modi 3.0, also the dependence on allies now. Does that affect decision making?
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, the NDA, I don't talk about allies as such. I mean, I want to be naughty for a while. In fact, once Mrs. Gandhi, so the story goes, was told that, you got a very large figure. She said, I'm getting worried. She says, it's better to have allies around because they can, you can do your adjustment. Her son, the late Shri Rajiv Gandhi, had an absolute figure. I think what was 400 plus, and he lost the government. So no, governance model and the figure is not a. If somebody told me in one of the similar interviews that you had to be cautious after there's a perception of a deficit after 2024. I said, no, that if there is a perception of a deficit, you made it up with the election results in Haryana, Maharashtra and Delhi. And therefore, after Bihar and West Bengal, you will be, riding even higher. No. I think NDA allies today are a strength and our belief in the NDA has always been there. I, in fact, start to get a little worried if you don't have any political. So for every proposition you make, there is a good thing and a bad thing. Now, some of the stuff that we wanted to get through, we've done. So one or two things are still left. Okay, if you look at the original 2014 BJP manifesto. Well, I'm sure in the coming 4 years we'll get it done. I mean, who thought of 370? I mean, no one did. Triple talaq, who talk of some of the other decisions. One nation, one poll. I don't know about the timing, but I think the one thing that distinguishes the Modi 11 years is whatever was said has actually been implemented.
Because many point out that, the decision on caste census was actually taken because of the pressure from the allies.
Not at all, not at all. If you look at the old records, we've always been in favor of a caste census. But what some of these friends of ours were wanting was a standalone caste census. But we said when we do the census, which we will do now, it will be part of that census.
Let me come back to Operation Sindoor. A lot has been said regarding the operation carried out by India, especially the meddling, so-called meddling by, US president. How do you look at that? The tweets that came first.
I am not going to comment on what the President of the United States.
But the opposition has been talking about it.
Let them say it. Let them say it. There's an interesting story coming out from all world capitals. It's just better not to get. He is the elected President of the United States. He said something, and I think our External Affairs Minister has been categorical on record to say that we received a call from the Director General Military Operations of Pakistan. Our DGMO did. He got political instruction and responded, okay, we will have a cessation of hostilities. We've also said that Operation Sindoor is still ongoing. Also, the devastation that we were able to unleash in 22 minutes on that fateful night, and that devastation is visible in commercially available satellite imagery. Commercially available. It's not stuff I put out or you put out. And there is no evidence of any devastation on our side. There are counterclaims. Look, just let it sink in. All the criticism of the opposition, of those people in the opposition. I mean, some opposition people have been very responsible. I'm referring to my friends who went as part of these 7 parliamentary delegations. I mean, the kind of statements they made, but that's what anybody would do. I have a difference with you. I have to resolve that within the political framework domestically. I don't undermine my country by talking about it outside. In any case, I think all those questions have been answered, whether it's on mediation, whether it's on hyphenation, whether it's on internationalization of a particular part. I don't believe in all that. I think the government's military operation was splendid. Insofar as the other issues which you are discussing in terms of the narrative, etc., those are being clarified.
What about the statement by a Congress leader and LOP, Rahul Gandhi, who said Narendra surrender and then Ji Huzur? They have been talking about it.
I sincerely think that young, is not so young, he's what, 50 plus, several times launched and relaunched leader of opposition. I think he needs to do some introspection. On the one hand, you have in the public domain evidence of the devastation we've caused in 22 minutes there. What is he talking about? I mean, you just compile all the statements that the Pakistanis are making. Just compile and send it to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I don't find statements of the kind that you are referring to. I personally don't think one should dignify them with a response at the level of a cabinet minister.
You spoke about, the delegation that was sent abroad to put forward India's, how India looked at Operation Sindoor, what it really meant. What have we achieved, tangible outcomes, if we are so to speak?
I think the outcomes are many front. I don't want to be saying whether they will be speaking themselves and they will meet the Prime Minister. One and foremost is that it is a united country. The opposition parties are there. It has a very strong political messaging. And secondly, I think whilst all the other institutional people will reach out, the minister will reach out, we reach out to heads of state and government. There are large sections of society to which a delegation like this also reaches out, apart from officials, the think tanks, etc. And that's a concerted. Over a 10-day period, you have 70 people, go out, and it's in many ways, I would use the word, saturate people and get focused. And I think they've had very good results. And of course, they will themselves. I read one piece by one of my younger colleagues today in the papers on explaining. And I saw a very interesting answer which Shashi gave to his son, Ishan, when he introduced himself as the Washington Post correspondent. And I think it's a brilliant thing. I mean, today, the fact that Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism, the fact that it is a country which employs terror as an instrument of state policy, no one is in any doubt. But it helps sometimes for people other than your accredited envoys to also deliver the message, shows the seriousness of purpose and shows that you have an entire Indian political system behind it.
You mentioned Shashi Tharoor, where there was a lot of criticism that came, from the opposition, especially about who would be sent on these, delegations. So whether it was Shashi Tharoor or others, they said that parties were not consulted and the government took a decision on their own.
I think Kiran, my friend, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, I was having dinner. He was having dinner at my place along with some other ministers. He was in constant touch. The fact of the matter is, the parties sent their people. It may so have happened that if I were the head of a political party, I may have wanted to send X and we said not X, Y. But I think at the end of the day, that was a storm in a teacup. Today, out of the names that went out, I think you had, let's say, a Congress party, you had some very eminent Congress politicians there. Shashi, Manish, Anand Sharma ji, Salman Khurshid ji. I mean, these are all people with experience. I mean, several of them have been ex-ministers. Shashi was Minister for Education, I think. Salman ji was EAM. Anand Sharma was MOS in External Affairs. Then he was Commerce Minister. Then Manish was, I think, INB Minister.
Right.
So then you had Shri Abhishek Banerjee from the TMC. You had OYC ji. So I think it's a very good selection. Baki, controversy kya? I mean, you can start anything and, say the controversy, you have to quantify it. I don't think there was any serious controversy either.
Well, as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned, the opposition has also been demanding a special session, and they're saying the government is shying away from it. And they also want sort of a review of India's defense because they're saying CDS said that one of our aircraft had.
But just tell me, have you ever been into an operation where you haven't lost something? I mean, what kind of talk is this? Every time it's a shoot and scoot game. You ask for something, if the government says, you ask a caste census, they say, come and be my guest, yeah. I'm willing to have a caste census, it's part of my census. You've got a parliament session coming up, I think in July. You can decide there if you want a discussion, their statement will be made, I'm sure, by whoever has to be. It's not for me to comment. I think the opposition has been, at the very least, non-serious about these issues. There's no running away from any this thing. Every day the commentators are coming on the talk shows, etc. doing. जब parliament में बोलना होगा, जब discussion होगा, बोल लेना उसमें.
Just one last question on Operation Sindoor. You must have seen that a number of statements were made by BJP ministers, including one from Madhya Pradesh about Colonel Sophia. Why the government...
I regret as a BJP Karyakarta, and I can tell you such statements should never be made. And I condemn in the strongest possible terms any member of my party or any other party who makes statements like this. I'm so proud. I'm a feminist. I mean, I'm married to a feminist. I have 2 daughters who believe in feminism. But apart from that, look at the dignity of that lady in uniform. Her name, Sophia ji, or the other one, Wing Commander Singh. They represent the very best. For anyone to say that, I strongly condemn this.
Well, a bit about your ministry. Despite softening of global crude prices, domestically, why the prices continue to be high?
They're the lowest in the world, ma'am. If you look at the last 3-year period, our prices have been coming down. But I think your question comes from a good place. If global prices continue to be like this, you see, if I stock up at say $78 a barrel, then you can't expect me to sell at a lower than global. If global prices remain like this, the cost of insurance and freight doesn't go up because of global turbulence like attacks in the Houthis in the Red Sea or so on. Yes, in the foreseeable future, you should be looking at a reduction. But listen, Our oil companies lost 28,000 crores one earlier year. We compensated them by 22,000 crores. Last year, they lost 40,000 crores because of that subsidized gas cylinder we give. We still have to pay them back. But yes, if the trend remains like this, the coming months, yes, you could, the companies would look. We don't set the price, the companies do, yeah.
But how prepared is India for potential oil supply disruption, keeping
We are
the
very well
Ukraine
prepared.
and Russia?
We are very well prepared. We are now buying from more countries. We used to buy from 27 countries earlier. We are buying from 40 countries. Our strategic reserves are, I wouldn't say enough. There's never enough. But if you take all the oil we have in storage in the refineries, in platforms at the point of importation, yes, we are.
When we talk about Russia and importing crude oil, well, one question that always comes to the mind is that there is a lot of Western pressure that why is India procuring from there?
Well, there's no Western pressure. The only point is Russian oil was never under sanction. The oil coming in by a pipeline to Hungary was exempt. The oil going by pipeline to China was exempt. What was going from Sakhalin to Japan was exempt. What we were told is to buy within a price cap. So very happy, music to my ear. I can buy from there and I can buy cheaper. So there's no such thing.
But one criticism that comes your way is that, what about India's diplomatic neutrality?
Who asked you to be diplomatically neutral? Your diplomacy is designed to serve your national interest. And I think my Prime Minister is very, very clear. He has a moral duty to his electorate. And therefore, his moral duty, as I understand it, is that make sure that the Indian consumer is never short of energy, that energy is affordable, and that we are secure in our transition to sustainability.
Well, from Digital Bharat to Viksit Bharat, what do you think are the 3 key achievements that have actually made a difference to the ordinary person?
Well, I'll tell you, the ordinary person in my sector is getting energy. There's been no shortage in the last 11 years. I've only been Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister for 4 years. I've done other ministries, Housing and Urban Affairs, Civil Aviation, Commerce. But no, I think the common man gets clean cooking, or a common sister or our lady of the house, clean cooking gas if you are a beneficiary of the Ujjwala scheme for as little as 6 rupees 18 paise a day. And if you're a non-Ujjwala beneficiary, you get it for 14 rupees a day. That's a very big achievement. I mean, you compare that to even some very well developed countries. In the rural countryside, you're still using firewood and coal and kerosene, etc. So I can give you a large number of these things. The fact that 40 million people, 4 crore people have got a Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana unit, and you've decided to give another 3 crore, that's another 30 million. I mean, if you look at the size of populations of countries, they're not big enough. Here is 70, how many people go to fill up petrol and diesel and other forms of energy in a petrol pump every day? 6 crores 70 lakhs. That's the scale of the operation that you are causing. So I think the Modi government the figures are mind-boggling, but you've taken development right down to, percolated it down to the economically weaker sections and people. And as a result of which, you've been able to lift 279 million people out of multidimensional poverty.
Well, the government focus, it says, has also been on clean and green energy.
Yes.
How far have
green is a very good story to tell, because your biofuel blending was 1.4% in 2014. It has gone up to 20%. We had a target of 10% blending for November 22. We did it 5 months in advance. We had a target of 20% blending for 2030. We brought the target forward. We've already done 20%. Green energy, green hydrogen is another great story. Compressed biogas. In green hydrogen, one of our oil companies has floated a tender which has been awarded for 10,000 metric tons. And the price has already come down to less than $4 a kilo. I think if you scale this, if you replicate this and scale it up, and the price comes down to $2.5, $3, you'll have a revolution.
Well, let me, talk about politics a little. The Punjab government has been facing a lot of criticism over law and order. What do you think is going wrong as far as governance is concerned, considering they were here a few years back in Delhi?
Punjab government is a problem. If they're facing law and order, law and order is a state subject. You should be able to ensure. I was in Punjab yesterday. I'm very disappointed. I travel throughout the country. Punjab gives you the appearance these days of a state that got left behind. But more than that, law and order is a serious problem. If you're not able to curb the drug menace, if you're not able to curb the, if you are down the substance abuse road, the alcohol, etc., then that's the problem you face.
But we have seen that, right from Arvind Kejriwal to Manish Sisodia, even Satyendra Jain, they have they are right now in Punjab managing things from there, shifted
They're
place
managing.
from Delhi.
What are they managing?
Well, that's what their, party
No,
keeps saying.
they will manage. They will try to manage. But what is it that they're managing? I'd like to find out. And I think we have an election coming up in a few days' time in Ludhiana West. But I'm not sure. I think the Aam Aadmi Party is really facing an existential crisis, and it has to do some solid introspection.
Well, what about Delhi? There was a promise that was made by the party, and it was something that they said we will deliver on, similar to what was in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, 2,500 to women.
Yeah,
it's been more than 100 days.
Yeah, no, it's been 100 days. It's only been 100 days, but it's coming. It will come. You need to do this on a solid basis. You need to have proper data. You must know who is entitled to it. I mean, if well-to-do people start drawing on that, then it's a misuse of resources. Remember, at the end of the day, these resources come from the state. The state gets its revenue from the taxpayer. So you surely want to give it only to those who are entitled. Now, I'm told that it's at a very advanced stage and it's only a matter of time.
Well, I was talking about Punjab. What is it that ails BJP? Why has it not been able to get support
vote share
from...
has gone up. Vote share has gone up 3 times.
But largely it gets support from Hindus. What about the other communities?
No. The vote share has gone up from 6% to 18-19%. The fact, madam, is that we were in a alliance with the Akali Dal and we were junior partners in that alliance. And out of the 117 MLA seats, we only contested 22, 23. These were the urban segments, what you're saying. You never had a presence in the rural area. So how can you do well in the rural? So after the alliance was broken, which I think was a wise decision, now you're trying to establish a presence in the rural area, which was not there earlier.
Well, a little about Bihar elections. Every elections we see that, the party relies heavily on the image of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Is that a good thing or a bad? I think it's a very good thing.
I'm asking you, what about the other leadership?
No,
what about ensuring that there are
others? Please. The reliance on a Prime Minister who has a connect with the people, whose name is associated with the all-round development of the country is a positive thing. But it's not just that. Other people, we are the largest political party in India with the largest political party in the world. That party also has regional people. The regional people are supported, etc. But yes, I think if you have a highly successful Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's sheer appeal and driving, and he has demonstrated in 11 years that what he says he delivers on. So I think that's a good thing.
Well, one last question. What are 3 things, we've seen a lot that you talked about that the government has achieved. What are 3 things that remain unfulfilled and you will be concentrating on?
If you have 190 years of colonial hang, India's economy was what? 25% of the global economy in 1700. Okay? Now from there we came hurtling down to 2%. Now we have a situation where we had 190 years of British rules, nearly 6.5 decades of 6 decades plus of Congress rule. Now Modi's 11 years have achieved a lot, doubling of the size of the economy, women centered development to women-led development, the benefits of development percolating down to the economic, all that we've done. But more is to be done. There's a lot to be done. And I don't think the BJP case or even the Honorable Prime Minister's case that we have now achieved everything, now we can rest on our laurels. No, there's a lot of things to be done. Accelerate the rate of growth from 6.5% to 7.5% and 8%, number one. Make sure that some of the laws which need to be clear, labor laws, etc., to unleash entrepreneurial productivity, etc. The fact that more employment to be generated. Just now, we are manufacturing sector is which generates job. More needs to be done. I mean, there are some very good stories, etc. So I can tell you many things, but I think the best thing is to look at what has been done and draw inspiration from that for what will come in the remaining 4 years of Modi 3.0.
Thank you so much for
Thank
giving
you.
us your time.
Thank you. Thank
This
you.
is Neelam Pandey
Thank you.
reporting from Delhi.